Hello, everybody.
Excuse me? What did you just say to me?
Do we have Elmer Florentino Reyes Garcias here?
I do.
Let's bring him in. We are now on the record in 2024 TR 2940, State of Kansas versus Elmer Florentino Reyes Garcia. Jared Regier appearing for the state. Sir, you are Mr. Reyes Garcias. I need to hear you, sir.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. And we are set for bench trial today on failing to check for safe passage before passing from a single lane and driving without headlights when needed. Are you ready to proceed on your bench trial, sir?
No, I'm gonna need a little bit more time because I don't have the money to pay to the lawyer. So,
Sir, I don't know if you're just soft-spoken or if you're not close enough to the microphone, but I'm really not hearing you very well.
yeah.
Could you speak louder, please, and repeat what you said?
Yes. You know what? I'm ready.
You are ready?
Yes.
All right. I'm not sure that's what you said a while ago, is it?
No, but I changed my mind. So
Well, okay, so are you ready to proceed with trial or you're not?
yeah, I'm ready.
All right. And Mr. Regier, are you ready to proceed with trial?
Yes, Your Honor, as a slight precursor to the court, or rather precursor to the proceeding trial, as originally filed, the information does allege two violations. After further review of the applicable case law, my office did file an amended information dismissing count 1. However, the state is prepared to proceed to trial on count 2 at the court's convenience.
Well, Mr. Reyes Garcias, they have dismissed the failing to maintain a single lane in count 1. That leaves you charged and going to trial today on count 2, which alleges that on or about the 9th day of August, 2024 in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle upon a highway of this state, and you did fail to display lighted head or other lamps and illuminating devices at a time when due to insufficient light or unfavorable atmospheric conditions. Persons and vehicles on the highway are not clearly discernible at a distance of 1,000 feet ahead, in violation of KSA 8-1703, no headlamps, a traffic infraction. This carries a $75 fine and $108 in court costs, no jail time. And with that being the only charge, are you wishing to take it to trial, sir? And I'm not trying to influence you. The officer is here. Trooper Grunder. Go ahead, Master Trooper.
Yeah. Well, he was originally charged with DUI. Has that charge been dismissed?
Well, I see an amended information that does not reference DUI. Let me see. Doesn't look like it was. Let me look at your citation. There is an affidavit on posted information. What does he give me? Just a moment. The standard offense report does show driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs as a charge. Well, the county attorney filed this case on information and amended that, and I will look at it looks like there is an affidavit So I am not sure why the state did not file that. I think that there must be a reason on the record. Yeah. In answer to your question, Trooper Grunder, I see that that was part of your affidavit and standard offense report. But when the prosecutor filed the charge November 5th, he did not file the UI. Mr. Regier, is there anything you want to say about that charge?
Your Honor, at this juncture, it would appear that the information was initially filed with respect to the fail to maintain a single lane and no headlamps, an infraction. At this juncture, the state is only prepared to proceed on the headlamps violation.
Well, there you have it. All right, so Mr. Reyes Garcia, the state only wants to proceed on the headlamp charge. Are you ready for trial?
Yes.
Mr. Regier, you ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Master Trooper Brian Grunder to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Mr. Trooper Grunder, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please proceed, Mr. Reed.
Yeah, my internet connection keeps telling me.
Oh, okay, I wondered what that was. Had a little cutout there? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Regier.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name for the record?
Master Trooper Brian R. Grunder,
And where are you employed?
Kansas Highway Patrol.
And is Master Trooper your professional title in that capacity?
Yes.
And how long have you worked as an officer?
Total 22 and a half years.
Okay. And were you on active duty in your professional capacity on August 9th, 2024 at approximately 8:56 p.m.?
Yes.
And where were you at the time?
I was driving north on Rose Hill Road in Rose Hill, Kansas.
Okay. And is that in Butler County?
Yes.
Now you've already mentioned that you were within Rose Hill city limits. Is that your testimony here today?
Yes.
Okay. Now this Rose Hill Road that you mentioned, are there any other roads that run immediately adjacent to it?
Yes. In the area I was, there is a street approximately 15 yards, maybe give or take, that runs north and south as well.
Okay. And this other road, does it have a specific name?
Yes, it's called Harris Drive.
Okay. And at this location, would you describe Harris Drive as more curving or more of a straight shot?
It parallels Rose Hill Road, so it's straight.
Okay. And you said that you were traveling northbound. Does Harris Drive also go northbound?
Yes.
Okay. In this particular area, are there any nearby private residences?
Yes, on the east side of Harris Drive, it's all private residences.
Okay. How many private residences on the east side of Harris Drive would you say, just as a guesstimate?
15 roughly, maybe.
Okay. And are these private residences equipped with driveways?
Yes.
Okay. And do these driveways provide direct access to Harris Drive?
Yes.
Okay. And approximately how far from Harris Drive would you say these private residences are located?
I would guess 20, 30 feet they set off Harris Drive 20, 30 feet because of the driveways.
Okay. And Master Trooper, are you familiar with KSA 8-1703?
Yes.
Okay. And what type of driving does KSA 8-1703 prohibit?
Requires headlights and taillights when objects and stuff are not discernible within a certain foot, certain distance.
Okay. And what are some of the situations where objects might not be discernible?
Fog, heavy rain, nighttime.
So is it your understanding that headlights are required due to certain atmospheric conditions surrounding vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I respectfully request the court take judicial notice of KSA 8-1703.
Taken.
Master Trooper, do you consider yourself capable of identifying traffic violations when you see them?
Yes.
And do you, besides your 22 and a half years of experience that you had already referred to, do you have any other recurring or professional training that allows you to identify traffic violations on site?
I mean, just, normal work and reading through the law book and going to training.
Okay. Do you have any annual continuing education that you're expected to complete in your capacity as a master trooper?
Yes.
Could you please describe this continuing education for the court?
We required 40 hours every year of continuing training education.
Okay. And are you presently current on your continuing education requirements?
Yes.
Okay. On August 9th, 2024, at approximately 8:56 p.m., did you see any acts that you consider traffic violations?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I saw a vehicle proceeding northbound on Harris Drive. It was driving left of center for the roadway, and it was driving without headlights or tail lights on as required.
Okay.
Now, what time was this?
I believe it was like 8:56 p.m., Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Regier, is that what you asked him? Like something about 12 something.
Yes, Your Honor.
You wanted to know about 12 something?
No, I had asked on August 9th, 2024, at approximately 8:56 p.m. was the question.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So this vehicle, do you recall the make of this particular vehicle?
I believe it was a Ram pickup.
Okay. And by Ram, do you mean that it was manufactured by Dodge?
Yes.
Okay. And when you saw this Dodge driving on Harris Drive, again, what direction was the Dodge driving?
It was going northbound.
Okay. And you already mentioned that you saw this Dodge driving without its headlights activated. Were there? How did you make that determination?
All I could make out was a vehicle traveling north, and there was no visible lights onto the front or the rear.
Okay. On August 9th, 2024, what time was sunset, if you remember?
I do not recall. I looked it up at one point, but I don't remember exactly what time it was.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request the court take judicial notice that on August 9th, 2024, sunset occurred at approximately 8:27 p.m.
And I'm taking judicial notice of that from what? I don't know when it was set. So I don't think I can take judicial notice other than just common knowledge of living many years and knowing about what time the sun starts going down in August. But I don't have any independent ability to take notice of that otherwise.
Master Trooper, at the time when you saw this Dodge traveling northbound on Harris Drive, do you recall if it was whether it was light or dark outside?
It was basically dark at the time.
Okay. Is it your testimony today that you observed this Dodge driving north without headlights between during nighttime hours?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever observe the Dodge successfully activate its headlights and taillights?
Yes.
Where did this activation take place?
It occurred at a stop sign that is the intersection of Berlin and Harris Drive. After his, I don't know if he was a coworker or a friend or who it was, but he stopped in front of him and got out and told him that his headlights weren't on. And before I made the turn and activated my emergency lights, he turned the lights on.
Okay. And did you personally observe the Dodge with activated headlights and taillights?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned that you activated your emergency lights. Did you, after activating your emergency lights, did you successfully conduct a traffic stop on the Dodge?
Yes.
And and for the record, where did this traffic stop take place particularly?
The traffic stop took place at Berlin and Harris Drive.
Okay. And is this still in Butler County?
Yes.
Okay. Once you conducted the stop, did you personally speak to the driver of the Dodge?
Yes.
And do you see the driver of the Dodge present in the Zoom conference?
Yes.
Can you point the driver out and give a brief description for the court?
Yeah, he's on the court security Zoom. I can't tell if he's got a sweater on or some kind of overcoat. It looks like a blue undershirt.
Okay. Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record so reflects.
Master Trooper, did the defendant ever provide you with official identification of any kind?
Yes.
What was this official identification?
It was out of Maryland.
Okay. And did you ever place the defendant under arrest for various traffic violations?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Barring and a redirect, no further questions, Your Honor.
Any questions, Mr. Reyes Garcia?
No.
Any further witness evidence, Mr. Regier?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Regier, I, as a court of law, am really struggling here because part of the file is the affidavit and the standard offense report, and its focus is on driving under the influence. You didn't ask the officer about that. You didn't charge it. The affidavit says there was a strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming from the driver. His eyes were extremely bloodshot. That he said he'd had a few when the officer asked him if he'd been drinking, which is a pretty common response from DUI drivers. He took a breath test, and even with deficient sample, he had 0.184. He was arrested for DUI. He was driving around 9 o'clock with his lights off and in the west ditch, almost in the concrete water off area. I'm not sure what that means. But the problem I'm having, I mean, you're the prosecutor and you have the right to file whatever you want to file that you feel you can prove. And I know that you can't plea negotiate a DUI away. If you feel you don't have enough evidence to support a DUI, it's within your bailiwick to not file it. But I'm really struggling with what the court, I just don't understand, frankly, why this wasn't filed. And I'm going to need to review what my obligations are. when it looks like there is beyond a reasonable doubt DUI evidence, but it hasn't been filed and apparently doesn't intend to be filed by the prosecutor. Maybe as a judge, I just try the facts, but I'm concerned about legal obligations with letting a DUI go in exchange for driving without headlamps, an infraction. I'm inclined to continue this and make sure that I'm not doing anything illegal by proceeding and ignoring the DUI in this. Likewise, I want to make sure I'm not doing anything illegal by approaching this potential charge and evidence by even bringing it up in the middle of this trial. Is there anything that the state wants to say in response to my concerns before I recess this case and do some research on my obligations?
Your Honor, to that, I would need the opportunity to research further, although if the court is so inclined to set this matter over for that specific purpose, the state would not have an objection.
Well, can you or will you tell me at this point, do you feel that in spite of Master Trooper Grunder's narratives, you don't feel there was enough evidence to file that, and that's why you filed the information and then amended information?
Your Honor, may I request a brief 5-minute recess?
That'd be fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's 2:04 and we can reconvene at about 2:10. All right, Mr. Regier, we're back on the record in 2024 TR 2940. Any comments at this point, Mr. Regier?
Yes, Your Honor. If the court will permit me briefly, I have had the opportunity to review this case somewhat further. My understanding is that the prosecutor whom this case was originally referred to declined to proceed on the DUI charge, and so I reviewed this case solely for the purpose of the traffic infractions.
All right, so it is the county attorney's position that the evidence is insufficient to prosecute at this time on the DUI?
That is the state's understanding, Your Honor, based off the notes I have in my file.
Well, it is the county attorney's discretion to file or not file. No plea bargain agreement shall be entered into, nor shall any judge approve a plea bargain entered into for the purpose of permitting a person charged with DUI to avoid the mandatory penalties, but that is not what I understand the state is saying. They're just flat saying there wasn't enough evidence to charge with DUI. There wasn't enough probable cause to charge DUI. Obviously, the officer with many years of experience felt there was, but the county attorney did not. And it is my judge to try the evidence on the charges. So we will proceed with trial on the traffic infraction of driving without headlamps at basically 9 o'clock, August 9th of 24. Any other evidence you want to present on that, Mr. Regier?
No, Your Honor.
And does the defendant have any evidence at this time? You can call yourself, but you don't have to, and your silence will not be used as evidence against you, sir. Do you have any evidence you want to present?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, both parties have rested then.
The state does so rest, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know how you got so lucky. Mr. Reyes Garcia, the county attorney, charged you with but one charge. They didn't charge you with driving in the ditch or driving left of center. They didn't charge you with DUI, although the officer did, and his affidavit alleges that he noticed your dark colored truck driving in the west ditch, almost in the concrete water off area, traveling north with no headlights or tail lights at approximately 20:58 hours. Sunset, he says, was 20:28 hours. The driver of a van in front of you stopped at a stop sign and got out and told you to turn on your lights, and apparently you did. When the officer stopped you, you told him you'd been drinking only a few, but he noticed a strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming from you, and there weren't any other passengers. He attempted a standard field sobriety test and noticed you had extremely bloodshot eyes. You had a Maryland license showing Elmer Reyes Garcia. You did attempt the standard field sobriety test and showed numerous clues that you were impaired and did not do the test properly. The officer arrested you and transported you to Rose Hill Police Department, provided you a copy of a DC-70 form, and then read aloud the breath portion. You said you'd take the breath test, you spit out some gum, you would intentionally quit blowing into the instrument, but even with a deficient sample, you blew 0.184, the legal limit being 0.08. So you were transported to the jail in rigid cuffs in front of your body. But I'm not here trying you on that. I was concerned about it because my attention was called to that affidavit and to the fact that you'd been arrested with DUI. And because the statute is clear that you can't just negotiate away or just dismiss without evidence, except for being without evidence, I did look at that, and apparently the county attorney's office has independent, different evidence than what this trooper had when he had contact with you that night. And the county attorney dismissed 2 of the charges against you that the officer filed, including the DUI. All I have left today to decide based on the evidence is whether you were driving at a time that headlights and taillights were required and whether you were doing so. And the evidence is quite clear to me that you were driving without headlamps when you were supposed to. So I do find you guilty of the only charge before me today. And that is driving with headlamps. Your fine is $75. Your court costs are $108. Can you pay that today?
Yes.
All right, pay $183. I have to tell you, I do not feel good about the outcome of this case, not one bit. But I would strongly advise you not to be driving after dark without lights. Don't be driving in ditches or across center lanes, and definitely do not be drinking and driving. Thank you, Master Trooper Grunder, for your contributions to this case. We'll be in recess at this time.
Your Honor,
Destiny?
I apologize. Just as part of the journal entry, since count 1 was dismissed and it's an infraction, it was automatically put into the system. We will need an order from the county attorney's office in order to remove those fines from the case. So right now his balance shows a higher balance than what he is to pay.
All right, Mr. Regier, I trust you'll take care of all of that in the journal entry.
My office will prepare an appropriate journal entry in this matter, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Trooper Grunder, do you have any more cases on this docket?
No, ma'am, I do not.
All right, thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.